I'd like to welcome everyone to the April 13, 2020 council meeting at 7 p.m. Could we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is a little different for us this evening. We have Eric Woods here, Les Burgum, Carol Bartley, and myself. The other council members are going to be calling in, so we're hoping that you can hear everyone as they speak. Carol, could you start with the roll call, please?
Sure. Before we begin roll call, anybody who's attending remotely, council members, can you turn your mic on? We'll begin with Megan Sheets.
Present.
Mike Bright.
Here.
Brant Fuller.
Present.
Joe Palmer.
Here.
Steve Beardsley.
What?
Clarence Worthen.
Here.
Eric Woods.
Present.
Okay, thank you, Carol. For the minutes tonight, we had listed 3 different minutes, but as we've gone back through them, we've realized that the February 27th and the March 2nd meeting minutes do not need to be approved, but there will be a correction on the March 9th, 2020 regular meeting. And Carol, do you want to explain that to them on what we're going to do on that?
Yes, the March 9th minutes, which you have in your packets, referenced a special council meeting on March 2nd where the minutes were approved at the last meeting. That should actually read February 27th. We've already approved those minutes, and the March 2nd minutes are not for this meeting. They were for the Board of Works. So that was an error on my part, having jumped into this so recently. So with that correction, these March 9th minutes are presented for approval.
And I'd like to ask the council members, before you speak, would you please say your name so that we can make sure we get the right person? Thank you. Now I'd entertain a motion to approve the March 9th, 2020 regular meeting minutes with the amendment.
Megan Sheets, so moved.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Megan Sheets, I'll make that first motion.
I'll second it. Joe Palmer.
Okay, is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Megan Sheets,
Aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
The minutes passed as amended. Is there any public comments tonight? Okay, we don't have anything then. We have ordinance 20-03 on third reading. Would anyone like to make the motion to pass this on third reading? This is the ordinance establishing the rules and regulations for parks and other recreational areas in the city of Frankfort, Indiana.
This is Eric Woods. I will move to pass ordinance 2003 on third and final reading.
Brant Fuller, second.
Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please, Carol.
Megan Sheets,
Aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
Ordinance 20-03 passes on the final and third reading. Thank you. Our next ordinance is 20-06. It's on the third reading, and it's the ordinance amending ordinance number 75-10 regarding the Utility Service Board.
I move that we pass ordinance number 20-06 on third reading. Clarence Worth.
Do I have a second?
Megan Sheets, I will second that.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please, Carol.
Megan Sheets, Megan Sheets,
I'm sorry, aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
Ordinance 20-06 passes on the third and final reading. We move on to the next ordinance, 20-10, and it's on first reading. I would entertain a motion to read this by title only.
I will make a motion
Joe
to,
Palmer. Yeah, go ahead.
Eric Woods, I'll make a motion to read ordinance 20-10 by title only.
And I'll second that. Joe Palmer again.
Roll call, please, Carol.
Megan Sheets,
Aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
I'd entertain a motion to pass ordinance 20-10 on first reading.
Mayor,
Yes.
before we do that, I had received communication from the hall render firm in Indianapolis, specifically Jeremy J. Ullum, regarding this ordinance, and it has to do with the revenue bonds that were issued for the Wesley Manor development on the south side of Frankfurt. And it is similar to one we did in 2018. It was a reissuance ordinance that amended the interest rate based on the LIBOR index rate. And it's a little bit different because this also extends the payment date. The city of Frankfurt is not obligated on these bonds. They are revenue bonds, and so they will never affect our tax revenue or collection. He had asked that the rules be suspended because of a time factor, and that this be passed on first, second, and third reading tonight. And I explained to him that that's very unusual for this council to do that. It would require a motion to suspend the rules to do that. Approved unanimously by all council members, and that the council may be more inclined to suspend the rules and pass it on second and third reading at its next meeting, which I think he was okay with. But we did a similar one, as I mentioned, in 2018. I've looked through the ordinance. It is simply an ordinance to amend the trust indenture, affecting mostly the agreement between the trustee and the borrower, and not the city, but we do have to lend our approval to it. So anyway, that's where we are on this. If the council is inclined to suspend the rules and pass it on all three readings tonight, then it would require a motion, as I've indicated, to do so. That would have to pass unanimously. And then there would be a second motion required to approve the ordinance on first, second, and third readings. And Jeremy is available by cell phone if anyone has any questions, he indicated to me.
Is there any discussion by the council on how we need to handle this tonight?
This is Joe Palmer. Does any of the council members have a problem?
No, I have a question. This is Clarence. What's the purpose of this change in your ordinance?
The primary purpose is to extend the date on the bond maturities to 2028. And then there is an interest rate adjustment, which I suspect is a favorable interest rate adjustment, reducing it down to lower levels.
Okay,
And as Les mentioned, this is no financial obligation by the city at all. This is all through the Wesley Manor.
This is Eric Woods. I understand the way this works. My only question to Les, does this affect our bond ceiling?
It does not.
Okay, thank you.
This is Joe Palmer again. I'll make a motion to suspend the rules, pass ordinance 2010 on all three readings.
I'll second that. Brant Fuller.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please, Carol.
Megan Sheets,
Aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
aye.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
With a unanimous vote, then we can go ahead and pass this on first, second, third reading.
This is Joe Palmer. I make a motion to pass ordinance 2010 on all three readings.
Clarence Worthen seconds that.
Any discussion? Roll call, please, Carol.
Megan Sheets,
Aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
Ordinance 20-10 passes on first, second, and third reading. Thank you. Next on the agenda is Resolution 20-05. This resolution is to transfer funds from the QCAP Improvement Fund to City General. I think it's been a couple of years now that the council had requested that we go ahead and the funds that we have in the QCAP Improvement Fund be transferred to City General. We don't appropriate this fund. It's just that we get in approximately $70,000 a year. And we're just asking to transfer $37,518.95. That's what is in the QCAP Improvement Fund as of today.
This is Eric Woods. I will make a motion to pass resolution 20-05.
Megan Sheets, I second that motion.
I just have one comment to add, much like we did with, I believe the cigarette tax is there any way to make this automatic every year?
That's the last question.
If not answered tonight, maybe it's something we want to consider looking forward to, because I think we're all in agreement. We've done this every year.
Right.
It just makes sense.
I would have to check on that and get back with you, Eric, which I'd be happy to do.
Okay, is there any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please, Carol.
Megan Sheets,
Aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
Resolution 20-05 passes. Next on the agenda is Resolution 20-06, and it's a resolution directing the transfer of appropriated funds. I did meet with the Finance Committee, and we talked about transferring the funds out of the it's the edit funds out of the city land bank appropriation line item into financial services. It's taking the appropriations from the 400s into the 300s of the edit funds.
Clarence Worthen, I move to pass resolution 20-06.
Joe Palmer, I'll second.
Did you get that?
I did.
Joe, the second?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call.
Clarence was first, Joe made the second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please, Carol.
Megan Sheets,
Aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
Resolution 20-06 passes. Next on the agenda tonight is Resolution 20-07. And it's a resolution delaying TPA Aquatic Center project. We don't normally read them in their entirety, but with this type of a resolution, I didn't know if that's something we want to consider or not.
Mayor, Megan Sheets, I would like to have this read in its entirety. I think it's a great explanation of what we're voting on
Okay,
for the public to hear.
okay, is that in the form of a motion?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize it required a motion to do so, but yes, I'd like to move we read the resolution 20-07 in its entirety.
Do I have a second?
Mike Bright will second.
Okay, roll call on that.
Megan Sheets,
Aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
Carol, would you read that, please?
Resolution number 20-10, a resolution delaying TPA Aquatic Center project. Whereas the Common Council of the City of Frankfort has heretofore supported the TPA Aquatic Center project, known as the project, and the council remains committed to the project as a capital project of great importance to the City of Frankfort and its citizens. And whereas bids were let for the project on February 4th, 2020, and were opened and read aloud by the Board of Public Works and Safety at its meeting on February 26, 2020, that all bids exceeded the estimated and budgeted amount for the project, and the Board of Public Works and Safety has taken the bids under advisement. And whereas the project, as budgeted, is based upon projected tax revenues, the amount and timeliness of which may be impacted by emergency orders of the state of Indiana as a result of the current COVID-19 declared emergency, and by the state of the economy in the state of Indiana in the near future as a result of the COVID-19 emergency. And whereas the Common Council finds for the reasons stated above that it is in the best interest of the citizens of Frankfort that the project not be undertaken at this time, but be re-implemented in the near future. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Frankfort that the TPA Aquatic Center project be delayed, and that the Common Council therefore recommends to the Board of Public Works and Safety that a bid for such project not be awarded at this time.
Would anyone like to make a motion to pass this resolution, and then we'll have discussion after that?
This is Joe Palmer. I'll make a motion we pass resolution 20-07.
Mike Bright will second.
Okay. The Finance Committee has met on this, and we've had a lot of discussion on which way to go on this pool aquatic center project. I've asked Carol as clerk treasurer to get us some information together, and then also I'd like to hear something from the Finance Committee as well.
What I have to add is the impact of local income tax and property tax on the city revenue in the future. The local income tax revenue will be impactful on the city's finances in the year 2022. These funds are on a 3-year cycle. The cities and counties may expect to see a loss of those funds due to current unemployment situations from the COVID-19 pandemic. The full impact, of course, is unknown at this time, but with the high levels of unemployment, it may lead to a significant decrease in funds. Property tax revenues will likely be down with the 60-day extension of late fees that the state has implemented. Current projections are estimated at around 70% of the collections may arrive in a timely manner for our June draw.
Thank you, Carol. Eric?
This is Eric Woods. I'll make a couple comments from the Finance Committee meetings regarding this topic. This was a tough one for the benefit of the other council members in the audience. We have a lot of projects going on. We've dealt with an awful lot that are a benefit for this city. No one could have anticipated the hardships that I think we're going to see over the next several months with reduction in income and delay in property tax. So again, this was a tough decision the Finance Committee took up with the mayor and the Redevelopment Commission. But it was one we felt was absolutely necessary because although financially we could have made the payments under the best circumstances, we simply had no assurance. And when we went to Reedy Financial for guidance on this, they were not able to provide us with a positive suggestion how to move forward. So when your finance organization can't give you the go-ahead from their professional viewpoint, the Finance Committee recommends that we take that as an understanding that we should not enter into something that would possibly cause us to default on a bond payment and have to basically get into other property taxes for other services and maybe salaries on down the road. So the diligent, smart thing to do here is to wait a little while. We will definitely readdress this as the resolution clearly states. We're going to have an aquatic center. We just need to do this smartly and make sure that the decisions we make today are best for the council and the community of Frankfort.
This is Steve. Just echoing everything that has been said, but the main thing for me is just the fact that we're in unprecedented time. Nobody can predict what's going to happen financially in the near future. And it just seems to me to be irresponsible if we were to go ahead with this, not knowing for sure whether the funds will be available in the near future for it. But again, as Eric said, I remain fully committed that this is going to happen. We just need to make sure that we have a little better idea of what's going to happen in the economy and the world here in the next few months before we can make that decision.
Thank you, Steve. Would anybody else like to comment?
Mayor Les Bergam, I would like to thank the Finance Committee and the administration for the attention they've given this issue. It's a very important one. As we've indicated before, the bids for the project did come in higher than expected. We had to eliminate, if the bid were going to be awarded, almost all the alternative aspects of the project. There was only one that would have come in, and even that would have required a change order right after the commencement of the project, so that it really couldn't have been completed the way everyone originally anticipated it. The notice of award has not been given by the Board of Works, but they have taken the bid, both bids. There were 2 bids under advisement. And originally we would have expected the Board of Works at its meeting today to award the bid, but we have 60 days from the time the notice was given to do so, and that does not expire until the 26th of this month. So it just seemed to me and to the administration that the Board of Works, who's charged with the responsibility of overseeing the project and awarding the bid, needed some guidance from the Common Council as to the financial aspects of this and whether to proceed. So we did prepare the resolution to clarify that and give both the administration and the Board of Works guidance on that. And we very much appreciate the effort that's been given to this.
The bids that we have now, when do they expire?
The bid needs to be awarded by the 26th of April.
Okay, so after
Unless
the
it's
26th
extended.
of April, we would have to go back out for bids again if we wait?
Well, we would have to re-advertise and notify any potential contractors. The process can start again at some point, but we would have to advertise again.
Now, I'm agreeing with this resolution, but I also know that if we go back again, we could potentially expect higher bids than what we have now.
That's always a possibility, that's correct. They could also be lower.
Yeah, we can hope.
Is there any other comments? I just want to say this was a really tough decision for the Finance Committee, for myself, for the rest of the council. But sometimes we have to make those tough decisions, and I think this is the right decision, considering that right now we just don't know the financial impact that this COVID-19 is going to have on the city. I look for us to review this probably every 3 months, maybe. If something comes up sooner, we can always do that. But this is not out of the question. This is not a project that we're giving up on. It's just that we feel right now to be fiscally responsible, this is what we have to do. And I appreciate the council's support on this, and hopefully we can get this taken care of soon. Does anybody else have anything else? Okay, roll call, Carol.
Megan Sheets,
Aye.
Mike Bright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Steve Beardsley,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
Resolution 20-07 passes. Does anybody have any old business this evening?
Mayor, Megan Sheets here. I would like to share, since it was brought up in a prior council meeting, the question of Travis Sheets's contractual agreement was brought up about its duration. And since that discussion at council, the Board of Works did have the opportunity to meet with Travis. And as you know, everyone knows that the contract was for Travis to serve as owner representative during the Prairie Creek Park and the TPA pool projects. Knowing that our pool project will be delayed and that Prairie Creek Park is coming to fruition and coming to a conclusion here fairly soon, our conversation with Travis, we all agreed that the end date for his contract would be May 31st of this year. He remains very agreeable to helping us should we require his assistance, but he's going to stay at Prairie Creek Project and lend his expertise for the landscaping that's required. And it was a good discussion and one that we all feel is appropriate end date for that. So thanks to those of the council that expressed their constituents' concerns. And we did have the opportunity to meet with Travis and everyone's in agreement. So I wanted to bring everyone up to date.
Thank you, Megan.
That's all.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Mike Bright. I just thank you, Megan, for that update. That relieves some of my concerns. It sounds like we're heading in the right direction on that situation. Thank you very much.
As most of you know, this was a monthly contract, so he's been paid by the month. So the last month payment will be for May, since that terminates May 31st. Is there any other discussion? Thank you, Megan, for bringing that up. New business, does anybody have anything to bring up?
Joe Palmer, I just wanted to let the council know that, we had appropriated about $75,000 every year for, facade grants for the city. We have put them on hold through the RDC. We have, allocated, some money out of that money, and we are doing an emergency relief for the small merchants down in the TIF district, to try to help them just survive until they can get their doors open. We've got partnered up with, Frankfurt Main Street. They're working with, the merchants, and, the applications went online today, but the effective of this starts Wednesday. And hopefully we can help the mom and pop operations with either rent or utilities or, possibly lease payments or insurance for their companies or their business. The whole goal was because some of these small, companies with 5 or less employees, it's mom and dad running it or mom and pop. And we want to try to help them and make sure we keep them alive until they can open their doors and get back to business.
Is there any discussion or any questions for Joe? Was it someone? Thank you, Joe.
This is paid through TIP dollars, so it's not the regular property taxes of residents, stuff like that.
Is there any other discussion or anything else that you would like to bring up tonight? I just want to thank the council, Les, Carol, Annie, the Board of Works. We're going through some trying times right now, and it's been difficult for us. We've been trying to have our meetings either through Zoom or conference calls, or we're having text messages, email, everyone for their support, for their cooperation through this, and hopefully it won't be long and we'll be back to normal. Now I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved by Joe Palmer.
I'll second, Brent.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.